Alright, hello guys, how's it going? We should be live, but I'm going to confirm this by going over to my YouTube channel on my phone just to make sure. Streamlabs, which is what I used to go live, has kind of had an update recently, and I'm not as familiar with it anymore, obviously, but I'm going to try to do more streams because I think streams are a lot of fun. Sorry to keep you guys waiting, by the way, we are live. Oh, guys. I got caught away from the house and I had no way to update the time on the stream remotely, so I have to do that on my computer, and I wasn't on my computer. So I was stuck in a pickle. That's what happened. Um yes. He did the thing. What thing did I do? Guys, you want to hear a crazy story? I got in a car accident. Um I got in a car accident a while back, not today, thankfully. This was a few months ago. I bought a new car in April, and a couple weeks later, a car crashed into me. Actually came flying across the median and crashed into me randomly. Um, I've gone through. I'm on my third rental now that I've been in because I've had weird issues. The first one, the windshield broke somehow. The second one, the tire, just the air kept going out. And now I was waiting on a new one because the tire was running out. And basically, this morning I woke up because yesterday they couldn't get me in one because that's when it hit 13 psi on the tire, and I was like, okay, this is going downhill. This isn't good. It's supposed to be 33. This isn't good. Wouldn't fill up at gas stations. It was going to go back down anyway, so I wanted a new rental. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. You probably can a little bit. Anyway, long story short, this morning they called me. They're like, we only have a minivan. That's all we have. We have a minivan. And I'm not saying minivans are bad, but, you know, a minivan and then it gets 20 miles per gallon and, you know, a huge tank and I have to bring it back to them full and gas and whatever. I didn't want a minivan for that many, for many reasons. I didn't want a minivan. Well, I decided to wait it out because they said, we're probably going to lose the minivan, but we might have a new car by this afternoon. So do you want to try your luck, basically? And I was like, yeah, sure. You know what? Let's do it. I got a Camaro convertible, guys. A red, I think it's a 2020 or a 2021 Camaro convertible. Um, yeah. So, don't know why I was saying all that, but definitely be patient because good things can come to you. Um, was it a really good? Somebody said, was it a really bad accident a few months ago? Um, it was. I was the least impacted car, so I'm super thankful for that. But it was a pretty bad crash. Both the driver's side doors needed replaced. They were really jacked up. Um, some of the front bumper got a little bit impacted, and then the back piece needed fixed. So, yeah. Okay. Anyway, we got some weather going on, guys. I just wanted to tell that story for some reason. I just thought it was cool that I thought I was going to get a minivan, ended up getting a Camaro. So patience is a virtue, is what I'm trying to say here. Let's see. Cat Gleason in all caps, please talk about the weather. I'm going to. But because you keep spamming in all caps to do it, I'm going to talk about some other stuff for a minute because I don't appreciate when people try to tell me what to do. Because if I want to talk about something, I just have to talk about it. Everybody be thankful. You know, you never know when a car crash is going to happen. I was going the speed limit. I was in the far lane. I wasn't even in the middle one. And a random car came flying across the median. You never know when it's going to happen to you. So be thankful and be careful. Be mindful. And always just be paying attention when you're driving. I mean, really. Because if I was looking down, and because I did kind of steer away from it, if I was looking down and wasn't looking, it could have been far worse. So always, always, always pay attention. Tea of the day. Yeah, Tony knows about it. I talked to Tony about it. So, talking about the stream, guys. Talking about the stream. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to go live throughout this event. I am going to be able to talk to you guys for about 20 minutes or more here and actually talk about what's upcoming, but I'm not going to be covering the whole event. Only basically what we see on screen for the moment. Actually, unfortunately, I do have plans throughout the day today. Let's see. All right. Am I a gamer in my free time? I don't have free time, so I'm pretty much nothing outside of my busy life. Let's see. What we're going to do, I mean, this cell is looking pretty intense here, moving towards Park Falls, Wisconsin, Phillips, Prentice, Tomahawk. You are all in the path of this one, basically. So we are going to continue to track this situation. This obviously looks like it could develop a hook. It is a more intense storm that is one of the first ones that fired up. Obviously, as these storms move over the lake into Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, they are going to gather and gain intensity here. Let's see. What we're going to do is move to model guidance, because I really just want to break this down for you guys. Again, we're going to be talking more about what's upcoming rather than what's going on currently, because it isn't really unfolded yet, like it is going to eventually. By the way, guys, how's the volume? Let me know. Tony said Ashton. What's going on, man? How long have I been in the weather for? Basically since I was about, maybe like when I was about 11 or 12. When I was about 11 or 12, I got into weather. Gonna go ahead and pin that Discord server because that's the new direct weather one right now. I have been, obviously, when you get in a wreck, you're dealing with insurance people a lot, and that has been the case for me. You can ask Tony. I have been really dealing with the insurance people to the point where YouTube is all I do outside of my normal life. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So this is 6 p.m. We're past 6 p.m. already currently. This is WSV3, by the way, guys. Tony, if anybody asks what program this is, can you just let them know it's WSV3? Because I get that comment a lot, and it usually stalls out the stream a lot. I'm glad to answer it, but it would be easier if other people could answer it since it's just such a simple answer. So really, these storms that are around, as you can see, this is supposed to be 9 p.m. These are going to really dissipate. This isn't going to be the main event. The main event is going to actually unfold in northern Minnesota up there, as you can see. So north of I-94 for the most part is where this is really going to begin to unfold there in the central regions of the state. Thankfully, not the most populated region in the country, obviously. However, there is people there, and we are going to be mindful of that. Now, these storms look pretty nasty already. We see the purples developing. That could be some hail cores because we see some higher DBZ up there. So that usually indicates some taller clouds, some more precipitation, which in turn could mean more precipitation and more hail in general within those cells. By the time we're reaching about 10 p.m., these begin to make their way into northern Wisconsin, and they look even more intense by this point. And that makes sense. Let me explain why real quick. That makes sense because on our day one convective outlook here, which is our categorical outlook here from the National Weather Service, I almost said National Hurricane Center, we can see that the moderate risk is for Wisconsin and through the lower peninsula there of Michigan. Excuse me. Guys, so many videos lately. My throat is killing me. Grand Rapids south all the way to South Bend is basically where that extends, almost reaching I-69 there. So that's the very eastern extent of this. But we can see a lot of Wisconsin in there. This is an area where we particularly are going to be watching for these more severe storms. All right, with that out of the way, let's move back into the simulated radar. Let's move this towards 11 p.m. now. All right, now look at this storm. This could possibly be a derecho. And a derecho is a very long-lived, very, very strong wind storm, very severe windstorm, and they usually have very bad rainfall and lightning with them as well, and sometimes hail, sometimes tornadoes, but mostly wind is going to be your biggest threat if that does end up being the case. Let's move this towards 12 a.m. tonight. And as you can see, this is, again, a very linear. Let me draw on the screen here. Let me just kind of show you guys what I'm looking at here. This is your front of the storm there. You see how it bows out at the side too on both sides? That's also a bad sign. That usually means that this is a wind type storm. That, it's usually associated with very wind-driven storms, including derechos. So basically what's happening here is this is moving very quickly, mostly directly south here, like this. And because of that, the wind is a little bit slower on the outside, and that's why you kind of get these little areas where the storm is kind of curving around like that, because the wind is moving quicker towards the middle, especially the very middle. That's why we get bow echoes. So that would be the perfect illustration of a bow echo. Let's go ahead and take this towards about 1 a.m. And as you can see, again, still just really has that bow shape to it. And right around this front here is where the strongest of the winds would be. I really hope there's no boats here over the lake, because that would be really, really bad. Obviously, with these very strong winds that can be associated with this storm, we can expect very strong winds if this is a derecho. Yes, 75 mile per hour plus winds are possible. That's a hatched region from the Storm Prediction Center. So that is a possibility at this point. I'm going to move us through the radar because, again, I have very limited time. I just wanted to hop on here and give you guys more of a nowcast type update here, as I have a tiny bit of time left over. So by that point, it's crossed Green Bay. This is going to be an overnight event, so the people in Portage, Oshkosh, if that's how you say that, maybe even Mayville, Green Bay, it's crossing over around 1 a.m. This is 2 a.m. You guys, if you're asleep by this point, you might wake up to some whistles outside. That usually means a lot of wind, obviously. So this is what we could be dealing with and what we likely will be dealing with. Also, not to mention the lower peninsula here, Ludington, Cadillac, Traverse City. You all are getting very strong winds by this point, around 1 to 3 a.m. This model is saying 2 a.m. We're giving it about an hour on either side of a buffer there. Let's move this towards 3 a.m. So still, overnight, look at this. Intense storms. Look at the lake. Very intense storms over there. West Bend, Madison, Milwaukee now getting these very strong winds. On the very front of that storm is where the strongest of the winds will be located. So we will be watching for that overnight, 4 a.m. Kenosha, Janesville here, getting the strongest of those winds. Now Grand Rapids, it's approaching you guys as well. Maybe even Mount Pleasant, although it does look like that derecho is mostly to the west of you. We're looking for that structure. Now this will impact Chicago, obviously, as it's heading south. We see Rockford, Crystal Lake, Evanston soon, Benton Harbor, let's see, Grand Rapids, it's just past you. We see very strong cells right over top of you. That's that hail, precipitation, and possible tornado threat as the storm is right over you guys. And then we see, even though the radar might not look intimidating, the winds sometimes don't really care what the radar looks like. Likely, we will still see some winds with these storms, regardless of how intense they look, because of how quickly this is moving. People need to know that. Just because the storm is broken up a little bit does not mean the winds are gone. Over here, though, it will be worse. Benton Harbor, Jackson, Lansing, Howell, Sterling Heights even, Flint as well, all included. Look at this shape here now. We see that this is kind of reformed over here, potentially according to this HRRR model. Again, likely we're seeing the winds very quickly move like this. And then because of that, since the winds are weaker on the outside, we see kind of a push like this. Because again, the winds might be weaker along that outer edge. So if the winds are stronger in the middle and weaker on the outer edge, it's going to push the middle forward while the back lingers behind. Just like that. Make sense? Yeah, should. All right, now let's move this towards 7 a.m. I have very limited time. I'm going to try to walk through all of this with you guys. Okay, now it's approaching Detroit. Detroit might be getting some stronger winds. 8 a.m. It's past you guys. Toledo, uh, even Cleveland could get in on some of this later in the day tomorrow. As we look towards 9 a.m., it's approaching Cleveland, Mansfield as well, Lima or Lima, however you say that. Even areas in northern Pennsylvania potentially, and even borders of Ohio and Pennsylvania, Youngstown there as well. We see the storm is broken up, but again, that does not mean the winds are done. Does not mean the winds are done. Newcastle, Meadville. Uh, we see areas like Youngstown, Greenville, Oil City, all of these areas likely seeing some stronger winds by the middle point of tomorrow morning. Hopefully that was a good walkthrough of all of this, guys. Like I said, I have very limited time, so I was able to just walk through with this with you guys. Hopefully I helped somebody out. That's my goal here. You know, um, nothing more. I just want to help as many people out as possible, and by hopping on here for 20 minutes and just giving some information, I think that might be enough just to help a couple people know what they're in for overnight tonight into the morning tomorrow. Anyway, guys, I literally already have to go. I'm so sorry, and if I would have known this event was coming much earlier, as in days ago, I would have had planned for this ahead of time, but I just did not. Unfortunately, I'm sure there's other great streams, and also your local news sources are also going to likely be really great sources as well for updated information. As always, check out the DW server on Discord. That's going to be pinned right there at the top. Folks in there will be willing to help you as we're breaking down the storm as it's excuse me, as it's unfolding tonight. And as always, pay attention to the National Weather Service. Pay attention to the Storm Prediction Center. They're going to be giving you life-saving information. Thank you so much for tuning into this quick live stream. I hope all of you stay safe, and I hope all of you have a great night.